Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hey, what's up, everybody? Cartez here, Move Abroad and Thrive. Well, just want to give you another update. I did finally break the $10,000 threshold with my trading, which was a number I was trying to get to. In last week's video, I think I was around $9,300. And honestly, man, last week, was a little jittery. I was scared to trade. I don't know, psychologically, I was like, man, I don't want to mess this trade up. I don't want to screw up. And so I only traded 2 days last week. Monday, I jumped in, had an opportunity to make a bunch of money that day, but I freaked out, jumped out, and I only ended up with like $77 or something like that. And then I didn't trade the rest of the week, that Tuesday, that Wednesday, that Thursday, but Friday I finally decided to hop in. And I just kind of stuck to the plan, and I finally broke into that threshold. So I'm gonna pull up the screen just to kind of share with you and show you some things right quick. It's a scary week this week because we start trading tomorrow. Right now, we are in a war. President Trump launched an attack against Iran, and a lot of people, their stocks, they just went down, they just dropped, and a lot of people lost a lot of money, and a lot of people are pulling their money out, and that's one of the things that I do like about day trading, and as I'm learning a lot more about how this stuff works with Robert, um, since we're out of the market, whatever happened over the week or during the weekend, we weren't affected. So while a lot of people lost, some people won. While a lot of people had some sleepless nights because they were scared of what was happening overseas, it didn't affect us at all because we were out. All of we're in the cash. Our money is not sitting and going up and down and fluctuating based on what happened. And so I'm kind of interested to see how things go tomorrow, because this will be my first time trading during a big conflict like we have right now. But according to Robert's methods, um, it doesn't matter how the market is going. It doesn't matter if it's going up. Doesn't matter if it's going down. Doesn't matter if it's going sideways. With the strategies that he's teaching, we make money regardless. And if we decide, and if you ever decide you don't want to trade, that's fine too. You get to decide based on what's happening if you choose to get in. But the most important thing is your money was not affected. You didn't lose any money. So, anyhow, here's my numbers. I'm at $10,084. As you can see in the trading for the last month, it's showing that I earned $3,718. I think last week when I showed this 1 month change, it was like 4,300. But like I said, there are 3 days that I did not trade at all last week because I was shook up. And but I still did good on Friday alone. I earned $454.16. And mind you, I started out with 5,000, and I did get my accurate numbers to kind of share what the return is. But I'm so happy to see this $10,000 mark. And so, like I said, to be earning $454 in 1 day, and that's with a $10,000 account, well, $9,600 account that day. It's impressive. I mean, it's like 4.72% return on that day on Friday. This was the last day of the week where I did this trade. So I'm gonna break down. I'm gonna show you the table view just so that you can see all of the numbers here. Let's see. Yeah. So last video. So Monday. Um, so Sunday, so Monday morning I started with this balance, this $9,397 is what I started with on that Monday. So that Monday I ended up earning like $78. So it went from 9,397 to 475 at the end of Monday. So about $78 is what I earned. Tuesday, the numbers, So the $78 that I made, it showed up on Tuesday in the account as 69629. So didn't trade on Tuesday, didn't trade on Wednesday, didn't trade on Thursday. And by this point, I was just, mentally ready. I'm like, man, I gotta break this 10,000. I gotta break this 10,000. And each of these days I was just nervous to hop in. And so, and that's the thing you learn. Once you learn the system, the main goal is just to stick to the plan, play the system, and not be overthinking it. In those days, I was overthinking. I was scared to pull the trigger. But on Friday, as you can see here, the money added was a little over $400 and some change. And so, so on to Monday, I start. This is right now after this recording is Sunday night. So on Monday morning, I will be starting with $10,084.06 in the account, and I'm looking forward to trading. I'm nervous because of what's going on. Let me show you this. Just breaking these numbers down here. So all in all, so I started with 5,000 initially, and then later on, this is the contribution section. I had this mixed up last week. So I started with 5,000, and then I added like $500 like a month later, and then I added like another $300 and some change, and then I added like another $100. So all in all, I contributed $5,930. And with those $5,930, I earned $4,148.99 over the last 8 weeks. So for a grand total of $10,083, it's saying it's 72% return if those numbers are right. I don't know if it includes any of this contribution. I need to do the math and determine that. But 72% year to date from January 5th is when I started to the last trading day, which was February 28th, I believe. Yeah, February 28th was the last trading day. So 2 months in, slightly less than 2 months in, because March 5th would be 2 months that I started. This is where I'm at. So I'm excited to be doing this. And like I say, tomorrow, it's going to be a very strange news day. Got a lot going on. The Dow futures is down 275. S&P futures down. It's going to be crazy, and so I'm looking forward to see how we play it out tomorrow and the rest of the week. Because I imagine this whole week is going to be crazy. Dow futures dropped 500 points as oil prices spike following U.S. attacks on Iran. So there's gonna be a lot of crazy news coming out, a lot of stuff happening, and so it's gonna be interesting to see if how this strategy holds up. And so far, so good. As they're already saying, market brace for impact of U.S.-Iran conflict as shockwaves begin to spread. Asia Pacific markets tumble after Iran strikes. Oil futures spikes by over 4%. So these are just some of the news that's already coming out. And here are the big five big things we're watching in the stock market this week. I'm just curious to see what that say. Da-da-da-da. I think I need a premium account to look at that. Yeah, I gotta join the club. But anyhow, again, just keeping you up to date with what's going on. One of the big benefits with day trading is you jump in, and then you're out by the end of the day. None of your funds are tied up. You're not affected by any of this bad news that's going around. You're in the money. You're in the cash. And so that's a big plus about this that I like. And, so, hey, we're going to keep building. We're going to keep growing. And, hey, like I said, I'm 52, just learning how to trade. I'm just learning how to become more financially literate. You won't believe how much I've learned just over the last 2 months, and how much I'm continuing to learn. I've been doing a lot of studying, and I'm like, man, I wish I learned this stuff and studied this stuff, not just on day trading, but understanding finances, being financially literate. It makes a difference, and I'm watching my coins. I'm going back looking at some of the mistakes that I made in terms of managing my money, understanding how just little small percentages can earn you big money over time if you are respectful of the small percentages and of the coin change. You know what I mean? I got these debit cards. I'm canceling a bunch of them, virtual debit cards that I have because I have all these charges coming through. I don't even know who's charging me. You got all these subscription plans, so I'm cutting all that stuff out. Um, I'm looking at just the little bit of money that we can save on little things, and we're just chopping it because those little bit of money where they just pull out $3 here, $7 here, $10 a month here, that adds up, and that money could have been put somewhere else, and where it earns money, and so again, I'm grateful that I'm learning, and as I go deeper, the more I start to realize, I'm like, man, if I play this thing right, probably be you can earn $1 million in this with this thing in 3 to 5 years with the power of compounding and playing the conservative long game instead of trying to make this quick dollar, in a week's time. So as I learn more what I'm doing, I'm getting even more conservative with my trading. I'm trying to be a little less risky, less aggressive, and play it more safe and thinking long term, understanding how these small numbers will yield big returns if I play the steady long game. And when you look at all these millionaires, like I say, reading these books, when you look at these millionaires, they ain't trying to make a whole bunch of money at one time. They're making time work for them. And so if you want to learn this stuff, man, I'm telling you, sign up, take a look at Robert's course, slowlifetrading.com. I got the link in the description. And I'm not trying to get y'all to buy it, but people who, are looking for another way to earn income, this is incredible. I started with 5,000. Yes, you hear people blowing out their account, losing all of their money, and not to say that I won't, you know what I mean, because the threat had always, the possibility has always been there, trying to be aggressive with these big moves and jumping in when I probably shouldn't have, but thankfully I didn't. And because I could have, what I'm saying, there's some risk to this, and I always stress that, which is why it's important. And Robert talks about this all the time, that greed monster is real. It is real. Because it's like, man, if I can't get what I want today, I ain't going to get nothing. And I've done that a couple of times. Instead of just getting the $25 or the $50 or the $30, I'm like, oh, I don't want $30. You know what I'm saying? So I walk away with nothing. And that mindset had to change. And so I'm still growing. I'm still learning, and trust me, I got a long way to go. I'm just a rookie. I can blow all this out tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get right back in because I understand any of the bad decisions. Bad things can happen even when you play right. You know what I mean? But when I know that I blew it because I was being greedy and reckless, I can't be mad. You know what I mean? And sometimes, I learn better with pain. So, but like I say, but I'm getting wiser with each week. As I look back, I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done a few of those things that I did. So like tomorrow, I think I'll cross the 10,500 threshold on probably Tuesday. I'll be at the 10,500, which will open up the opportunity for me to trade with 7 contracts. But I won't do that. I'll probably only trade with 4 or 5 contracts moving forward. Again, trying to be less risky, and I probably won't add another contract until I'm hitting 15,000 before I add maybe one more contract to trade with 5 or 6 contracts because don't want to be aggressive. The name of this game is risk management. I'm not in the business of trying to earn all these profits. I'm in the business of trying to manage risk. And so I'm making that switch in the mind to try and do that more. And that way I have a much more comfortable day. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank y'all for watching. MoveAbroadandThrive.com if you have questions about living abroad, moving abroad, earning money abroad. If you'd like to learn more about day trading, visit Robert's website, www.slowlifetrading.com. I got the link down below in the comments and description area. If you got any questions, feel free to post.